Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and this is a massive update that is incoming, and I have some really cool news to show you guys. Basically, it's kind of a lot of, not necessarily speculation, but I kind of called everything getting pushed back. We'll go into that at a later moment. But Ark is making a major turnaround over the next 2 months. Now, some people are like, it's the next, no, I mean 2 months. Let me explain to you why, because it's very important to understand this is not just a 1 month thing, it's a 2-month progress. Now, this, in my opinion, is going to be the time that it takes over Ark Survival Evolved on the playlists and kind of just starts to become its own game again, because it's kind of been lagging along without much oomph. But there's some major content incoming, and that's got to be exciting for anyone. I mean, I like it. For those of you that don't want to play, this is a great time to get into it, though, because this will be kind of like the initial kickoff point where everyone enjoyed regular Ark again. So let's go ahead and get started. So they just released this one recently. This is the kind of delayed announcement. Hey, we're delaying it. Sorry. June 2nd is when we're going to push out the Unreal Engine 5.5 update. We're going to make an update to the Astraeos map, which is largely an amazing map if you haven't played it yet. Anniversary content, and then we're pushing on June 18th, Ragnarok Ascended, which includes a Bison, the new Lost Colony expansion pass, Day 0 content. Now, the reason that is super cool is because that's kind of like the beginning of the transition into Ark 2, because essentially what's going to happen is going to be Genesis gets released and then kind of Lost Colony is in between there, and it kind of serves as the transition point into Ark 2. And that's something we should all be excited for. So hopefully maybe we'll see Ark 2 this upcoming year, but who knows? But yeah, I mean, we know how long it takes them to push out content. So this is the first time in a little while I've been excited to kind of like get back into Ark, because Ragnarok is kind of like everyone's favorite gem of a map. It had everything everybody wanted. It was a huge map, tons of caves, tons of PvP options, tons of PvE options, just a great overall map, and people absolutely adore it. Now, it's also going to be a couple of weeks after they kind of unhinge some of the problems that they release inevitably in a 5.5 update, which is going to greatly increase everyone's performance, which I think people misunderstand the value of that. It's going to make your computers and consoles work way better. It's going to optimize quite a few things, and it's going to take them a week or two once it releases to fix some of the problems. And then once they get ready for that next update, June 18th, then Ragnarok is going to come out. And when it does come out, people should be stoked, because it's obviously one of the best maps, if not the best map. You got new creatures, new content, the Lost Colony expansion pass, which means there's going to be some cool stuff going on. And then, on top of all of this, you're going to give it about a week or two, because there's going to be a lot of problems. It will not probably be optimized, so there'll be another week or two before it kind of like settles out and a lot of those glitchy issues are fixed. And then after that, it'll be an enjoyable map, because once they're releasing this kind of Ragnarok thing, I don't know if you noticed this, they're actually decreasing the size of the map, so you have the option to download maps individually again. I'll talk about that in a second here. But anyways, let's keep going. So you can see, not launching on June 2nd, this means that, obviously they blah, 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 blah. We're pushing everything back is essentially what they're saying. Now, they're doing some Ark anniversary content, the birthday surprise cake, suit shirt, and suit pants, which are cool. I don't know if you remember those from Ark Survival Evolved. Kind of funny. This is huge, right? Egg incubator coming back is going to make people that enjoy breeding and kind of doing those kinds of things in the game. It's going to make your life so much better, and it makes everything so much simpler, especially in a game in which it's nice to have access to an incubator for sure. So definitely keep an eye on that, because it's going to be pretty cool. If you haven't played with the mod version of it, I think they're keeping the mod version, but I don't know for sure. That comes from S+. I hope they do, for everyone's sake, because that will make everyone so much happier. And then obviously you can see that you've got your new structure tile set pieces and cosmetics. You can expand this whole thing, and you can see thatch, and then the whole, everything. If you really want to go into all of it, you can. I'm not going to go into it, but it's kind of cool. And then obviously you can see major Astraeos content update incoming, huge, and he's actually adding mini bosses. So if you remember like the end of Ark Survival Evolved, when we started to get mini bosses from Svartalfheim and then also Fjordor, that's kind of when mini bosses got introduced. So adding those to the game is going to add another kind of like switch up on the 2nd of June. They're going to do a re-theme of Club Ark, which is always fun. I enjoy Club Ark a lot. And then actually adding single-player backup saves to create, restore, and auto-generate backups across all platforms. That is huge. For those people that are on console, you've had this problem for almost 2 years now. And yeah, hopefully it's fixed as of this update. And then obviously you can see once they've transitioned to Ark Unreal 5.5, they'll be moving into Ragnarok Ascended, the Bison, and then the Lost Colony expansion pass. Now, you can see this. The first size canonical expansion pack, all purchase will immediately unlock exclusive to Lost Colony gameplay content. Now, I don't know if that's going to mean that you can have it for Ragnarok or if it's just like pre-ordering essentially. Lost Colony, and then as it comes out, it's a battle pass. I'm not really sure how it's going to work, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. And hopefully they do release this. For those of you that have played Ark before, you know this is something that they make delays. Usually they're pretty close within about a month or so. They're pretty close to the actual dates. So I would hold them to maybe June 18th to the 21st, somewhere in that range. And then June 2nd will probably be the release of this because that's only like 2 weeks out. So that's not too shocking. But so that's coming out. Now, for those of you that haven't seen this yet, yes, they're bringing in a new creature, the Bison. Hopefully it kind of changes. I don't know if you guys remember how rhinos used to be so much fun to move around on because there was like a stampede effect and stuff like that. Hopefully they bring some of that back with the Bison, but who knows if that'll actually be a thing. I got a feeling you got to tame them in some cool way with a lasso or a whip, or I don't really know, but there's going to be a cool thing to go with that. Now you can see that they're re-enabling mesh detection and adjusting player caps again with inactive server deprecation. And yeah, that's just a cool thing. The Bison are going to be a really unique thing in my opinion, because adding in Griffins is going to change the game a crap ton. So you need to add in the Bison. Now, I just mentioned it, and it's important to bring these guys up. Now, this is when it's going to get kind of crazy. So Griffins. For those of you that don't remember Griffins from Ark Survival Evolved, it's essentially the most important, well, it's up there for like top 5 tames in the entire game. The Griffin is a tame that you can use and have a passenger on the back of it. It can get pretty good stats overall, but the problem that it had in Ark Survival Evolved is you couldn't breed Griffins. Now they've made it so you can actually breed Griffins. I don't know if that means you're going to have to tame the babies in the wild, or if you're going to somehow still be able to tame the Griffin and then hatch them. Not really sure yet, but it's going to be a huge change because that was the biggest thing people wanted. They wanted Griffins to be breedable, and that would be really cool. The cool thing that where they were kind of balanced is they were something that you, I mean, yes, obviously you couldn't breed them, so it made it so their health was not stupid out of control. So most people would have like 10k, 15k in health, but they don't have a saddle, so melting them with a sniper is just the same as melting them with a wyvern and stuff like that. The thing that people are going to get frustrated about is a Griffin can be picked up, and then you can hop off the back of the Griffin. It'll hold somebody in your claws, and you can flame throw them from above, which is kind of interesting. But you know, you can avoid that in a few different ways with a grappling hook. So yeah, so Griffins are coming back, and that's gonna essentially make, well, it won't make wyverns useless, but it's certainly gonna add in some complexity and some more challenges and meta changing things, because Griffins are super powerful for PvP, and for PvE, just because they get across the map so quickly, just like a snow owl does. Griffins are like one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to in this kind of update. Now, they haven't really made too many updates outside of that, but with the increased number of creatures incoming, the Griffin, the Bison, I want to say there's one more. My brain is not working properly right now, but just the new map in general with the additional wyvern scar is going to be huge, so you have access to those. They used to make it so creatures were different on Scorched Earth, so they had like higher levelings and higher percentages and stuff like that. I don't know if they'll do that the same here. I don't know. We'll see. I hope they do, because that'd be kind of cool, and especially with them being breedable and whatnot. But the Griffin coming back, the Bison being huge. You can see this is the actual Bison reveal. There's a female and a male Bison, which have different capabilities. You can see the headbutts and packing havoc. This is obviously the female Bison, and the male Bison looks a little bit different. And yeah, so you can see it's make its mark, one glorious thud at a time. I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting. I think the females are going to have some sort of benefit to farming in some regard. And then the male Bison, I have a feeling, again, this is a feeling, so don't quite hold this for all that it's worth, is going to somehow have some sort of like stampede effect where you have multiple like running in a certain direction. At least that's what this image indicates. If you have multiple kind of running, oh, not this one, where's the other one? That's the one I wanted. If you have multiple running, it'll like buff their one hit status. So like if you've got like 10 Bison, it'll give you like 10x. So if you can somehow manage to have a stampede, you can like maybe one tap things, that'd be kind of cool. But we'll see how much that actually comes in. But all of this is kind of to suffice it to say that Ark in the next 2 months is going to have some major changes that are going to make the game much better for everyone. Adding another map is huge. Adding new creatures is huge. Making it more playable so there's less crashing and stuff like that is even probably the biggest thing overall. And then once we get over this little hump, I have a feeling people are going to switch to Evolve or switch to Ascended from Evolved because people hold on to like some of those things with the lack of crashes and stuff like that on Evolved. And it's still a messy game, but it's still a beautiful game. So hopefully you guys are excited. I'm stoked. Ragnarok is, I know, pretty much everyone's favorite map because you've got so many fun PvP zones, so many fun PvE zones. I've got tons of videos on it. I love Ragnarok. I'll be making a bunch of them for it. So anyways, make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment below for that algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. All right, yeah, other than that, Teach out.